Ciao a tutti, mi chiamo Charlotte e oggi parliamo della poesia che si chiama Febbraio e il poeta si chiamava Giuseppe Ungaretti. So, we're looking at a poem today and I've written it out here behind me. I'm afraid I don't have access to all my normal or all my proper equipment, but I'm doing what I can. So this is an improvisation. This small board is posed on top of my music stand, so hopefully that'll be okay. So let me start off by reading it out to you, chaps and chapesses. Where's my pen? There it is. Excellent. Ogni anno. Allora, si chiama Febbraio. February. Ok. Ogni anno, mentre scopro che febbraio è sensitivo, è per pudore torbido, con minuto fiorire, gialla irrompe la mimosa, si squadra alla finestra di quella mia dimora di una volta. I think I've missed out a word there, chappies. Let me just check. D'una volta, sì, scusa. D'una volta. So, what this actually says is of that which was once my home, or of my once home, my once dwelling. A home or a dwelling or an abode. D'una volta. D'una volta. So, I had missed out the preposition di. So, what we've got here, just so I can explain, because I'm only using a small whiteboard and sort of limited resources, the poem actually looks a little bit different to how I've written it out on the page. It looks like this, okay? I'm in a tiny corner of the room I'm staying in. I'm on a chair that squeaks and there's a printer underneath my foot and I'm using a music stand. I'm really sorry, but it's just I haven't got access to my normal office, so that's why this is happening. But this is what the actual poem looks like. So I haven't been able to fit it all on like this. So I've got a capital letter where here, for example, it would begin on a new line. So let's start again. Ogni anno, mentre scopro che febbraio è sensitivo, è per pudore torbido, con minuto fiorire, gialla irrompe la mimosa. Sorry, that's my phone. Si squadra alla finestra di quella mia dimora d'una volta, di questa dove passo gli anni vecchi, mentre arrivo vicino al gran silenzio. Segno sarà che niuna cosa muore, se ne ritorna sempre l'apparenza. Saprò finalmente che la morte regno non ha che sopra l'apparenza. So I'm a little bit confused by the noises and the kind of the movement over here of whatever those little bits are called that keep the paper on a music stand, so sorry about that. So I might have to just read through that again in a minute, but let's have a look at the words. So Giuseppe Ungaretti is the writer, the poet who wrote this, and I've chosen it because I'm recording this in February. This is the February 2025 Italian Club. So the vocabulary within this poem sort of deals with nature, the passage of time, sort of some colour, and life and death, basically. So, and the juxtaposition between the two. So, as always, on the handout that my club members receive, all the verbs are in red, so that it's easier for you to find them. And then I've also got a link to the accompanying tutorial to this video. And I think I might, before I send this out, just add a link to an interesting interview in Italian with Giuseppe Ungaretti, which I've just had a look at. I've just been listening to before recording this. So that's a YouTube link. So ogni anno, every year, mentre scopro che febbraio è sensitivo. Mentre means whilst. It can also mean during, but here it means whilst, because we've got this every year, which is a temporal phrase. It kind of sets what's being discussed in terms of time and frequency. So each year, whilst I discover, scopro from the verb scoprire, che febbraio è sensitivo. Each or every year, whilst I discover that February is sensitive, è and per pudore torbido, and out of modesty torpid or cloudy or murky. Con minuto fiorire, with tiny or minute flowerings or blossomings. Gialla irrompe la mimosa. The mimosa tree bursts into yellow. Gialla. Giallo is the colour yellow, but we're talking about la mimosa, the tree. So the adjective that describes the tree, la mimosa, agrees with the gender of the object. So it's a feminine tree. The name of it is la mimosa, which is a feminine noun, and gialla agrees with it. Irrompere is to burst, or to sort of irrompere, to burst into or to barge into. So there's a sense of movement, but there's also here the sense of it quickly becoming. So there's also the translation into English, to invade. So basically the tree is bursting into life, which was sort of an idiomatic phrase that we'd use in English as well. So it's quite similar to burst into life, to burst into yellow. S'inquadra alla finestra di quella mia dimora d'una volta. So this is a reflexive verb here. Inquadrarsi. So this is like it's to do with being square. So to frame, maybe. See if we can inquadrare, to frame. Yes. So there's a sense of sort of quadrato, like a square, or to be in a frame. S'inquadra, it is framed, or it frames itself. Alla finestra, around the, or framed by the window, di quella mia dimora, of the abode or dwelling or residence. Mia, that's the possessive adjective, which means my, and it's singular, and it agrees with quella dimora, that place, that abode, is a feminine noun. D'una volta, of once upon a time, if you like, of once mine, if you like. Di questa, dove passo gli anni vecchi, of this one, the house, I think. Dove passo gli anni vecchi, where, dove, passo is to spend, to pass time or to spend time here. Gli anni is years, vecchi, so the golden years, old years, aged years, depending on how you want to translate it. Vecchio would be old, and vecchi is plural, because it agrees with gli anni, So we've got GLI there because anni is a masculine plural noun which starts with a consonant, so it's easier to say gli anni than I anni. Mentre arrivo, whilst I arrive. Is there another way that we could translate that? No, as I come, arrivo vicino, okay, as I come closer, as I get closer to become close to, or to get close to, or to come close to, from the verb arrivare, which is to arrive. Mentre arrivo vicino al gran silenzio, so whilst I get close or I'm coming close to, al is a plus il, gran is great or large or grand. I'm going to say great. Silenzio is silence. So as I get closer to, I'm going to translate it that way. It doesn't say più vicino, it says vicino, but I'm going to say as I get closer to because it sounds more English. As I get closer to il gran silenzio, great silence. So that's a metaphor for death. As I become closer, as I get closer to the great silence, segno sarà che niuna cosa muore. Segno is the word sign. It's a noun in this instance. Sarà, it will be. This is a question, so will it be a sign that che niuna cosa muore, that no thing, okay, not niente, but niuna cosa, no thing. Muore is from morire, which is to die, present tense. So we're talking about the mimosa tree coming to life in February at this house, which was inhabited by the poet, and which is coming to life at the house where the poet will spend his aged years, his golden years, his how else can you say that? Golden years, retirement years, whatever you want to say. The oldest part of it is the end of his life, basically. Whilst I get close to the great silence, will it be a sign that nothing, no thing dies? Se ne ritorna sempre l'apparenza. If its appearance returns, always returns. So if something's always returning, like the appearance of the mimosa flowers, is that a sign that nothing dies? Okay, so there's part one of that question. Mentre arrivo vicino al gran silenzio, segno sarà che niuna cosa muore, se ne ritorna sempre l'apparenza. Or, might have to move this up a little bit, or, that means or, saprò finalmente, this is the future tense, will I know, saprò from sapere, to know, or saprò finalmente che, or will I finally know that la morte, that means death, regno, king death if you like, non ha che sopra l'apparenza, has nothing above, or nothing but, king. That isn't the word king. Regno is actually kingdom. So let me see, like Regno Unito. Or will I know finally that the kingdom of death, non ha che is to have nothing but, non ha che sopra l'apparenza, has nothing beyond, maybe? Let me just look for sopra, because that normally means above. Above, atop, over. Nothing over, nothing above. I want to say that's nothing beyond, nothing over. Also, so let's have a look at this. Whilst I come closer or close to great silence, just trying to get away from these reflections. Segno sarà che. Is it a sign that niuna cosa muore? Is it a sign that no thing dies? Se ne ritorna sempre l'apparenza. If its appearance always returns. O saprò finalmente che, or will I finally know that la morte, regno, the kingdom of death, if you like, non ha che sopra l'apparenza, only has what is above or beyond appearance. Interesting. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and find a translation of Ungaretti poem, February. Ungaretti. Because it'd be nice to see if that has a sort of a better translation of the last few lines. Ungaretti. Poesia. I don't want the sound to come on, that would be really loud. No, grazie. So let me just hold it up for a sec. I did have quite a nice translation of that, but nothing over, nothing above appearance. Nothing beyond appearance. Let's have a look again. So, ogni anno, mentre scopro che febbraio è sensitivo, è per pudore torbido, con minuto fiorire, gialla irrompa la mimosa, si squadra alla finestra, di quella mia dimora d'una volta, di queste dove passo gli anni vecchi, mentre arrivo vicino al gran silenzio, segno sarà che niuna cosa muore, se ne ritorna sempre l'apparenza, o saprò finalmente che la morte regno, non ha che sopra l'apparenza, has nothing, only has, let me just check this, sopra, nothing beyond, I'm going to say. Yeah, nothing beyond appearances. Let me know if you can think of a better way of translating that last little bit there, because I can't actually find the English. Ungaretti, traduzione inglese, Febbraio. Let me see if I can find a nice little translation. Can't find it at the moment. It's annoying. There's I'm just looking on the internet as I'm doing this, obviously, and I found a website called paralleltext.blog, and it looks like what we have here is are some poems that have written in Italian that have sort of been looked at in sections, but also translated into English, which is quite interesting, really. I'm going to maybe include that, just see if I can find Febbraio. No, non lo so. So I think at the end it means, will it be a sign that nothing, as I become closer, as I get closer to the great silence, as I get closer to death, basically, will the flowering mimosa be a sign that nothing dies if its appearance always returns? if it continues to appear? Or will I know finally that the kingdom of death has nothing beyond appearance? Has nothing, only has appearances. I want to translate it to mean that the sense that death is nothing but an appearance. So, in any event, is quite profound, because I feel that it's basically saying the same thing. If death only has the appearance, then death is just like an illusion. And if nothing dies, if it continues to appear, then nothing dies, which is the same as it continuing. So it's an interesting one. So let's have a look at some of the verbs. We've got the verb to know. I think that appears once. Saprò is from sapere, which is one of the two ways you can say to know. So to know a fact, for example, or to know how to do something, you'd use the verb sapere. If you ask a question, do you know how? Do you know where I can find something? Do you know at what time? Blah, 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 blah. Do you know when? Do you know who? Then you'll ask those questions in Italian with the verb sapere. To frame, to go sort of around something. Inquadrare, the verb to die. We've got it here in the app. Cosa muore. Will it be a sign that no thing dies? The verb is actually morire, to die. Okay, so if we're talking about the time to spend time with someone, or to spend time doing something, we use a certain verb. We can use this verb, but there are other verbs as well. But the verb is passare. Passare tempo, to spend time, to pass time doing something, if you like. Passare. And then we've got a few other verbs. We've got the verb essere up here. We've got avere down at the bottom, non ha che. We've got irrompere, which is to burst forth or to burst into. This isn't a verb here, but dimorare can mean to dwell or to live, but this is actually a noun. La dimora, which is the residence or the dwelling or the abode. It's a little bit more poetic than saying la casa. Okay, grazie mille. So that's the poem La Poesia, Febbraio di Giuseppe Ungaretti. If I can find a nice translation, because I did find one which it was like more pithy at the end, the translation into English. If I find that translation again, I'll post it in a comment at the top of the comment section under the video. And if you're interested in joining my Italian or my French language club, every month I post a video and I send a handout that looks generally a little bit like this. I send that via email. It's got a link within the email and within the document to the video tutorial, which you can obviously watch at any time. You can ask me questions, via the comments or via the emails if you like. You can ask if you want me to study a certain element of language, or you have a certain question you'd like answered, then you have the opportunity to ask me to study that in the content of one of the next videos. Generally, I will look at some, like a poem or a song or an element of Italian language. Sometimes it's linked to the time of year, like this one's a poem about February. Sometimes it'll just be whatever takes my fancy for whatever reason. But it should have useful cultural relevance, real Italian language, and you'll be able to find it often online, or sometimes I just write my own content, and but I like to put something that's a link to something that's been written by somebody else where possible, so that you can see some genuine Italian language, not just the language of a teacher. Ok, grazie mille e alla prossima volta. Ciao!